Hello everyone, my name is Heran Yang. Today I will use this poster to talk about a question that connects the past with the present. I would like to begin with a question that seems simple but actually goes the core of my topic. For a very long time, who has been defining and writing woman? Let me start with a familiar example from the popular culture, the Zootopia 2. From the very beginning, the Judy Hope's dream is denied by a social script that everyone seems to accept. Small rabbits cannot be police officers. If Judy still wants to become a police officer under these conditions, she has only one choice. She must work twice or even 10 times as hard as everyone else, with perfect results just to be allowed in. However, when she finally earns her badge, the pressure doesn't disappear. Instead, new forms of discipline appear. She has to be careful not to be seen as too emotional or too sensitive. Her success doesn't free her from judgment, it only changes the standard by which she is judged. We can see a similar pattern in the character of Dr. Footby. As a leading scientist, her professional judgment still needs extra verification before it is trusted. Especially in moments of crisis, her authority is often delayed. This is raises an important question. Is this delay a more subtle form of gender bias within systems of knowledge and trust? This is two characters from the contemporary popular culture help us open today's discussion. They resonate with many people because they reveal a problem that crosses time and history. How do women repeatedly break through the life scripts society sets for them? And when they finally succeeded, do they truly gain freedom, or do they simply enter a new, more published but still restricted stage? To understand why this is a problem continues to return, we need to go back to a historical starting point. Why is self-writing for women not just a form of record, but a form of struggle? In traditional Chinese historical writing, women voices are largely absent. Official history was written by male historians and focus on emperor wars, and the state. For women, there was only one narrow way to enter the history, to become a moral example that fit Confucian values. The biographies of exemplary women, completed by Liu Xiang in the Han Dynasty, is a clear example. Women were categorized as obedient, loyal, chaste, or wise. This is categorized worked like labels. Women's real lives were flattened and turned into moral lessons. They didn't appear as complex individuals saying I, but as models of how women should behave. This is experience of being written by others was not unique to China. In my study of East Asian culture, I learned that in pro-modern Japan, classical Chinese writing was a privilege reserved for the elite men. Women instead used the kana to write their emotions and stories in private spaces, such as in the Tale of Genji. Yet, even then, strong emotions expressed by women were sometimes explained as separate position, as if anger, jealousy, or sorrow could only be justified through the supernatural causes. This is shows that something very important, that women were not only excluded from the writing history, even their emotional lives had to be filtered to be accepted. It is against this background that Xie Bingying's autobiography, published in 1936, becomes so powerful. Her writing is not simply a personal memoir. In my view, it is an act of self-invention. By joining the army, she breaks through the both physical and social boundaries that confine women to the inner domestic space. More importantly, through the continuous and conscious writing from war diaries to her autobiography, she takes control of narration. The figure of the woman soldier is no longer a vague symbol or the image, but a living subject with fear, courage, and inner conflict. Using the focus concept, this can be understood as a form of technologies of the self. Shipping doesn't passively accept the role given to her. Through the military discipline, daily training and writing, she actively shapes her body, her identity, and her life. In this way, she creates a new female subject that didn't previously exist in social scripts, the revolutionary woman soldier. But this act of self-immersion doesn't happen on its own. Revolution creates new opportunities, but it also sets new rules. In a time of national crisis, serving the nation becomes the highest source of legitimacy and also a new form of discipline. In her autobiography, we can clearly see this tension. When personal feelings such as the romantic love conflict with the revolutionary discipline, the latter almost always takes the priority. Her female identity risks becoming a tool or symbol within large, a larger national narrative. Her transgression is real and groundbreaking, but her freedom is conditional from the very beginning. This brings us naturally to an earlier and more familiar model of female transgression, Mulan. Mulan's story is deeply moving, but its internal logic deserves reflection. Her actions are praised because they are based on the filial duty and loyalty to the state. In the end, she returns home, removes her armor, and resumes her role within the family order. Her crossing of boundaries is temporary and permitted. Her value remains tied to service to family and nation rather than to herself. If we connected this example from Mulan to Xi Yin and then to Judy Hopps and Dr. Footby, we see a clear pattern. The form of discipline changes over time, from the moral rules to national narratives to invisible institutional bills, but the core logical remains surprisingly strong. Before women are allowed to enter spaces they are not expected to belong to, they must first prove that they will not disrupt the existing order. For this reason, female subjectivity is never something fully achieved once and for all. It is an ongoing negotiation between the transgression and discipline, and self-writing remains one of the most important tools in this negotiation. Whether it's simply writing against the historical silence or us today build identities through the social media, rhythms, and personal branding, these are all struggles over who has the right to defend the self. So I would like to end with a question for all of us. When we carefully present our lives or on Instagram or LinkedIn, are we freely expressing who we truly are, or are we becoming better performers of the new scripts of success, independence, and self-improvement given to us by our time? Do our the technologies of the self bring the freedom, or did they place us inside a more refined system of self-management?